This podcast is brought to you by Varietea.
Hello everyone, welcome to Variety, where we discuss a lot of different topics. By the way, I'm Adila, and I will be your host for today. Okay, without wasting too much time, let's proceed to our season today, which is we will be talking about a common issue among us that's called as cooperate not separate. What does it mean? If you want to know about it, let's get started.
Whatever your brother says or does to you, don't ever fight or talk back at him. Remember, you are a girl. You should be the one who doing the house chores. Don't wait for your brother. He is a boy and he shouldn't be doing such chores.
Are those statements familiar to you? The fact that such statements come from parents who hate the family, which are one of the major agents of socialization and also opinion leader, is, it is unfortunate to me because it leaves one doubting the possibility of achieving gender equality. Okay, let me share a popular quote by Kim Rong-ma that goes like this. The only way to solve the problem of women's subordination is to change people's mindset and to plant the new idea of gender equality into every mind. As you guys know, or maybe some of you did not realize it, but I will state here that gender equality begins at home, and family are at the front lines of change. For the next generation, the examples set at home by parents, caregivers, and extended family are shaping the way they think about gender and equality. And I guess this issue is not a new thing for us, and as I said earlier, it's a very common issue. As we know, gender equality is a very common issue among us and has been continued ever since. We can actually breaking down the gender stereotype to sharing the care work and educating children about women's rights and gender equality, and it is not that hard if we mentally focus on it. There are some ways you can inspire the future feminists in your family. I mean, in order to breaking up the stereotype of gender equality, there are actually a lot of ways or steps or tips that you can do to proceed on it. Such example, firstly, engage your kids in gender-specific discussion at home. Meaning by that, as a parent, you need to talk to your kids about women's rights and gender equality and what efforts are to be put in to bring about a gender equal world. They must be made to understand that human beings are equally vulnerable irrespective of gender, and this domain of tough father and a soft mother is not necessary through across the board. Empower your kids, especially girls, to voice their opinion on gender equality. The next step is, just like the topic itself, cooperate not separate, which is assign the role caregivers to boys from an early age. By equally dividing the house chores and care work between male and female must be the first step towards achieving gender equality. Delegate the housework and caregiving role to boys from a very early age, along with the girls. As an example, what is wrong with a boy doing the dishes after eating, right? I mean, if the girl already served the food, it is fair enough with the boys to talk over the works after done eating, like doing the dishes or cleaning the table. So, the works be done by the two gender, which is the boys and the girls. The next step is followed by the breaking the stereotype. Okay, I found a few researchers regarding this point, which is researchers state that children tend to adapt to gender stereotype by the age of 3, limiting their words to shrink for girls and expand for boys by age of 10. So, it is important to initiate conversation on gender roles from early on and challenge the stereotype attached to gender at home and society outside. This also helping them from having that mindset stuck to them, and it won't be any issue if they are doing the work that is known for girls, like I said earlier, doing dishes. Moving on to the next step is listen and learn from children. This is very, very important to every parents out there. Just like a previous point, this also I found a few statistics, and one of them is it stated that 1.8 billion strong global youth today has been at the forefront of voicing out on global issues such as climate change, education, human rights, gender equality, and more that affect them and the world. They represent enormous talent and potential to build a better future. For that, we need to give them a patient hearing and perhaps learn from them as well. The main reason is because sometimes we tend to forget that the fact that they are growing up, which means they have a lot of things to discover and even has their own thought or opinion. Another statistic that I found is India had ranked 112 out of 153 countries on the Global Gender Gap Index 2020, which slipped to 140 place out of 156 countries in 2021, making it the third worst performer in South Asia. There has been a steady decline in female participation and opportunities in the labour market, political empowerment, educational attainment, health, and survival, leading to a further widening of the gender gap. Although policies are being put in place for a gender-inclusive recovery, gender equality truly begins at home. Okay, moving on to the last tips is, it might be the last tips, but it's not the least. Gender equality starting from home means parents plays a big role in every house. Parents can also promote gender equality by supporting a range of activities for both their son and daughters. For an example, a father can help a mother do dishes after they cook or help them do the laundry if they have done the house cleaning. In fact, fathers who take on activity role in childcare and domestic labor positively influence their children by showing that the adult man role can be nurturing. The positive role modeling helps boys become a better husband, fathers, brothers, and friends to girls and women. And at the same time, it positively impacts the self-esteem of young girls and reinforces that both genders are equal. And not to forget, additionally, mothers who work and take on financial provider role in the family also help break down the stereotype for their children, especially their daughters, and challenge ideas about the conventional female role. Compared to the other tip I stated before, I guess this is the most important tips in order to breaking up the gender stereotype, which is parents play a big role in every house. Because parent is basically a figure that their child look into. So whatever their parents do, they tend to copy and do as them see, since they were at the same house and doing the same activities. So they think that what their parents do is proper and right way. So by explaining those points above, I guess you guys can get the point I'm trying to say. As for me, regarding this topic, I could say gender inequality at home really can be reduced if the steps are properly followed by the house member itself. Furthermore, as we can see clearly, the way generation nowadays are way different than old one. Women working is not a new thing anymore. Most of them also provide and produce the same way like a man did. Hence, it is fair enough if the house chore be done together, instead pass everything to the woman, or in other words, cooperate, not separate, right? So I guess by the conclusion I said earlier also bring us to the end of the episode. I hope the tips I shared regarding cooperate, not separate was beneficial to the audience that listen to this podcast. It is kind of sad for me to leave, but it's okay. Let's meet again in another session. As always, thank you for listening to Varietea. Bye everyone!